Emma had always thought of her marriage to Michael as picture perfect. They had a cozy home, 2 kids, and a love story that friends often envied. Michael was devoted, a steady rock who worked tirelessly to provide for his family. He had a knack for remembering the little things, like Emma's favorite kind of wine, or the exact shade of yellow she adored in sunflowers. But perfection is often a fragile illusion. Emma had been restless. She wouldn't call it unhappiness exactly, but there was a nagging void she couldn't quite articulate. She told herself it was the monotony of life, the never-ending cycle of laundry, bills, and PDA meetings. When Daniel, a charming coworker, started showing her attention, it felt like an intoxicating escape. It began innocently, a coffee after work, laughter over shared jokes, and compliments that reignited a spark Emma hadn't felt in years. But as days turned into weeks, their connection deepened into something she couldn't control. Guilt lingered on the edges of her mind, but she silenced it with excuses. Michael worked late. He didn't notice the new dress, or the way her eyes lit up when Daniel texted her. The affair unraveled slowly. Emma thought she was careful, but secrets have a way of surfacing. One evening, Michael found a message on her phone, an intimate exchange with Daniel that left no room for doubt. Michael didn't confront her immediately. Instead, he withdrew. Emma noticed his quietness, the way his eyes seemed distant. She chalked it up to stress from work. But in reality, Michael was piecing together fragments of the woman he thought he knew and the truth staring him in the face. Then, one morning, Emma found the letter. It was placed neatly on the kitchen counter, next to her favorite mug. Michael's handwriting was steady, almost detached, as if he'd poured his heart out but refused to let emotions smudge the ink. Emma, I've always believed that love could overcome anything, but trust is its foundation. When I vowed to stand by your side, I meant it with every fiber of my being. I've loved you through joy and sorrow, through the mundane and the extraordinary. But love cannot survive deceit. I found the messages. I've replayed every moment in my head, wondering where I failed you. Perhaps I was too focused on providing, too blind to see your restlessness. For that, I'm sorry. But the choice to betray our bond was yours. This house, our life, was built on trust, and now it feels hollow. I can't stay in a place where betrayal echoes in every room. I need to leave for my sanity, for our children, and perhaps for you to find whatever it is you're searching for. The children deserve honesty. I'll be here for them always, but I can no longer be the man standing in the shadow of your lies. Michael. Emma's hands trembled as she read the letter. Tears blurred her vision, but it was too late. Michael was gone. His side of the closet was empty, his keys missing from the hook by the door. The weight of her choices crushed her as she realized the depth of her loss. She had gambled with her marriage, and the cost was greater than she could bear. The house, once filled with warmth and laughter, now stood silent, a testament to a love shattered by betrayal. Emma sat at the kitchen table, clutching Michael's letter. The silence in the house was deafening, broken only by the faint hum of the refrigerator. She replayed the last few months in her mind, searching for the moment she had lost control, the point of no return. The weight of her actions was suffocating. The children were still asleep upstairs, blissfully unaware of the storm brewing in their family. Emma knew she had to face them, to find the right words to explain why their father wasn't coming home. But what could she say? How could she admit that she had been the one to break their family apart? As the days passed, Emma tried to reach Michael, leaving messages on his phone, sending emails, even writing letters of her own. Each one was met with silence. Michael had drawn a line she couldn't cross, and for the first time in their marriage, she realized he wasn't going to forgive her. Emma's affair with Daniel ended abruptly. The excitement that once drew her to him now felt hollow and meaningless. She couldn't look at him without feeling the sharp sting of regret. When she told him it was over, he seemed relieved, a stark contrast to the passion he once claimed to feel. Michael moved into a small apartment across town. He made it clear that his priority was the children. They alternated weeks, each exchange painfully cordial. Emma saw the sadness in his eyes, the hurt he tried to mask for the sake of their kids. He had always been the stronger one, and now that strength was focused on building a new life without her. For Emma, the loneliness was unbearable. Friends she once confided in kept their distance, their disapproval unspoken but palpable. She threw herself into work, into being the best mother she could be, but the emptiness lingered. Nights were the hardest. She would sit in the darkened living room, staring at old photos of their family, wondering if there was any way to undo the damage. Michael, on the other hand, began to heal in his own way. He found solace in his children, in the quiet moments of rediscovering himself. He started running again, a hobby he'd abandoned years ago, and joined a book club at the local library. Slowly, he built a new routine, one that didn't revolve around the marriage that had defined so much of his adult life. Months turned into a year. The wounds began to scab over, though the scars remained. Emma tried to rebuild her relationship with Michael, not as a wife, but as a co-parent. They attended school events together, exchanged polite conversation at drop-offs, and maintained a united front for their children. But Michael had moved on emotionally. He started dating again, something Emma discovered when she saw a new woman's name pop up in a casual conversation with their daughter. The realization hit her like a tidal wave. He was letting go, truly leaving the past behind. For Emma, the consequences of her choices became a lifelong lesson. She had gambled with her marriage, and though she had lost, she resolved to find her own path to redemption. Some mistakes can never be undone, but they can serve as a reminder, a painful, enduring reminder, of the cost of betrayal. As Michael's life blossomed, Emma was left to grapple with the aftermath of her decisions. The house felt colder, quieter. Once, it had been filled with laughter and shared moments. Now, it was a hollow shell of what it once was. The nights were the loneliest, but the days were much easier. Every corner of the house seemed to whisper memories of Michael, his favorite chair, the way he brewed his coffee, the spot where they used to slow dance to their favorite songs. Emma began therapy, encouraged by a close friend who hadn't completely distanced herself. At first, the sessions were excruciating. Admitting her faults, confronting her actions, and revisiting the choices she had made with Daniel felt like peeling away layers of skin. But over time, she began to understand the deeper issues within herself, the restlessness she had ignored, the void she tried to fill with the wrong person. She realized that her betrayal wasn't just about Michael, it was a reflection of her own insecurities and unspoken fears. Her therapist suggested journaling, and Emma reluctantly gave it a try. Each night, she wrote letters to Michael, not to send, but to release the thoughts that weighed on her. In those letters, she poured out apologies, regrets, and confessions she couldn't bring herself to say aloud. She wrote about the love they once shared and how much she missed the man who had been her anchor for so many years. Meanwhile, Michael's new relationship progressed slowly but steadily. Sarah, a teacher he met through a charity event, was kind and understanding. She knew about his past and gave him the space to heal while showing him what it felt like to be truly appreciated again. For the first time in a long while, Michael felt like he could breathe. He wasn't just a husband or a father. He was Michael, a man rediscovering his worth. Emma noticed the change in him during their interactions. There was a lightness in his demeanor, a peace she hadn't seen in years. It was bittersweet. She was happy for him, but it also reminded her of what she had lost. The moments they shared as co-parents were cordial, even friendly at times, but the chasm between them remained. One day, while dropping off the kids at Michael's apartment, Emma lingered at the door. "Michael," she began hesitantly, "I just wanted to say, I'm sorry for everything. I know it doesn't change anything, but I need you to know that." Michael looked at her, his expression softening. "Thank you, Emma. I appreciate that. And I hope you find peace too." It wasn't forgiveness, not entirely. But it was closure, a step toward letting go of the pain that had defined their lives for so long. As the years passed, Emma found her own path to healing. She rebuilt her career, strengthened her friendships, and found solace in her role as a mother. She even began to date again, though cautiously, with the lessons of her past firmly etched into her heart. She learned to live with her regrets, not as a burden, but as a reminder of the strength it took to move forward. Michael and Emma never reunited, but they forged a respectful relationship as co-parents. Their children grew up knowing they were loved, even if their parents were no longer together. And though their story ended in heartbreak, it also became a testament to resilience, the ability to rebuild, even after everything falls apart. As time wore on, Emma and Michael's lives took on distinct paths, yet their shared history lingered in the quiet moments of reflection. For Emma, the holidays were particularly difficult. The warmth of family gatherings once held in their shared home had given way to a rotation between households, an arrangement that underscored the permanence of their separation. Emma found solace in her children's smiles, even as she longed for the days when they all sat around the same table. Her relationship with them deepened as she threw herself into being the best version of herself for their sake. She attended every recital, every game, every milestone, hoping her unwavering presence would help them navigate the fractured family dynamic. Michael, on the other hand, embraced his new relationship with Sarah. She brought a calmness to his life, a sense of balance he hadn't realized he needed. They moved in together after a couple of years, blending their lives seamlessly. Sarah treated Michael's children with kindness, earning their affection without overstepping boundaries. Michael often marveled at how she managed to bring light into his life without erasing the love he once held for Emma. It wasn't a replacement, it was something new, something different. One spring afternoon, during their daughter Sophie's high school graduation, the entire family gathered for the first time in years. Emma sat beside Michael and Sarah on the bleachers, a stark reminder of how life had shifted. Their son, Jake, cracked jokes to ease the tension, and for a brief moment, they were all laughing together. It was a glimpse of what could have been, tinged with the bittersweet reality of what was. After the ceremony, they took a family photo. Emma stood beside Michael, their children between them, Sarah on the other side. It was a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, how life could twist and bend without completely breaking. Later that evening, as Emma flipped through the photos on her phone, she stopped at the family picture. She smiled, not with sadness, but with acceptance. Her life had changed irrevocably, but it wasn't over. There was still time to write a new chapter. Years passed, and the children grew into adults with families of their own. Emma and Michael became grandparents, their lives once again intersecting at birthdays, holidays, and milestones. The animosity that had once defined their relationship faded into a mutual respect, an acknowledgement of the shared love they still held for their children and grandchildren. In the end, Emma learned to live with her choices, not as a source of pain, but as a foundation for growth. Michael, too, found a happiness he hadn't thought possible. Though their story didn't have the fairy tale ending they once envisioned, it became a story of redemption, resilience, and the quiet strength of moving forward. Life was messy, but it was also beautiful in its imperfection. And for Emma and Michael, that was enough.